I come to the Buddhist Centre, it's very convenient, it's just down the road.
A friend of mine who lives also close here, he told me that there is this Buddhist Centre, so I decided to come to try.
I haven't been for a while actually, for about 6 months, so it's very nice to be back.
We've come because we quite regularly do meditation, so come for a meditation session. Just seems like a good thing to do on a Wednesday evening.
I just find it really relaxing and nice to take a bit of time for myself, quiet time, and it's just something I look forward to.
It helps me to keep in a routine with doing my meditation. It kickstarts me into doing my meditation.
I feel less stressed and I don't know, I feel like I appreciate the moment more.
I come here because my working week is very long, very busy, and it's nice to get away from the kind of hustle and bustle and actually find a little bit of calm within the city.
To be serene as I come, yeah.
By coming here, I get a lot of energy and a lot of ideas from the teachers at the classes, and also energy from being with other people who are practicing and are interested in Buddhism.
I think I experienced Bev as being, calmer and just kind of more centred and focused.
I feel that very simple. I'm much kinder than I used to be before.
When you try and imagine the way I used to think and feel maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I can actually see the transformation in myself and the way I relate to myself and to other people as well.
You make your own stress largely, and Buddhism pointed that out to me quite strongly, and it works. Most of the time it works.
When I was in India, and there is no any facilities or anything and further development, so when I came here, so I get more benefits and more improvement, and especially my personal development.
I was very welcomed, and when I was leaving, the person said, well, see you next week then, and I thought, sure, right, see you next week.
I've been coming up here every Wednesday morning and bringing Jasmine, my youngest daughter, along with me.
Everybody else seemed to know everybody else, and I spent a lot of time in the bookshop, and in fact I was too shy to go to any of the big public classes and went to just courses instead because it was easier for me to handle.
I got involved with the centre about 4 years ago now, maybe more. In fact, with my dear friend Hilary, who is beavering away behind me, we came to the centre on the same day together. Very fearful and sort of.
Mainly coming to lunchtime meditation, and then I got involved in running the creche about 2 years ago.
We had regular Wednesday night class for beginners. I used to come regularly every week, and I was the only black person every week. Occasionally I would bring a friend along, but apart from that I was the only black person every week, and it was just incredibly difficult, and I felt really unwelcome. I just didn't think people were friendly at all. It was very painful.
I was interested in the meditation, not interested in the Buddhism at all. In fact, I was actively disinterested in Buddhism, but I was very actively interested in the meditation. But the more I listened to what Buddhism was about, the more I realised actually that I'd been a Buddhist probably all my life actually, but just didn't know it was called Buddhism.
I went through quite a difficult time and wanted to find answers, and looked at lots of other things, so different religions or philosophy, and then eventually I came to Buddhism. My parents are Buddhists, and it was kind of the last thing I wanted to look at.
It didn't grab me like that, but it was just enough to intrigue me, just enough to keep me coming back. And there we are, and I got hooked sometime later.
Well, I started coming 6 years ago. I was living round the corner, and it was just because of the meditation. And it has changed my life. They keep on telling you that, and it's true. It does change your life.
I read books, came to meditation classes, and Iris is off now. So, and from just carried on from there. Really went on retreats, got involved in Buddhist businesses, and I suppose the main thing was developing friendships.
I just think it's a great thing to feel, if you want to feel a part of things, to get involved by doing some kind of work. Because then you don't sort of feel like an outsider, you feel like if you want to be involved, you are.
It has felt really natural to get more involved. It hasn't felt like I've dived in. People have said to me, you got involved very, very quickly. But once I've had that feeling of, finding something it just felt very natural.
I came along just to an introductory class about 12 or 13 years ago, and I've just sort of very steadily got more involved since then. I became a Mitra, moved into a community, and then just seen logical next step, actually it was a real heart response to come and work at the centre.
I was asked to be the chairman. I don't know, I mean, in a sense, I suppose the main thing for me was there was no one else perhaps at the time who could easily do it, and in a way it was an opportunity to give back. I've been involved with the centre since 1984 and living here since 1986, and I've gained so much from it.
It was 27 years ago. I made my way down to the LBC. Fear and trembling that this was the first time I was going to the East End.
Oh yeah.
And the LBC has almost always, well, for most of that time, the LBC has been my home, as it were, my spiritual home.
I can remember from an early age knowing that there ought to be more to life than mortgages and cars and jobs and all the sort of business of life. Particularly because my father died when I was very young, and I couldn't understand how all the adults around me just pretended to carry on with that sort of business of living, as if death wasn't an issue or wasn't going to happen.
I was working for an environmental consultancy. I was enjoying my job, but I couldn't see really the purpose of it. I mean, it was worthwhile doing it, but when it came down to it, it was about making money, making profits, and that feels pretty empty to me.
When I see more and more every day how my life was earlier and how my life is now, I could only see the benefits from it.
When I first came along, I had a lot of problems. I had children that didn't want to see me anymore. I was really suffering, and now we get on great. My son's a Muslim, and when I go to his house, we talk religion and life and death and the universe.
With the help of meditation and particularly friendship, I've been able to turn around a lot of things in my own life that I think were making me quite unhappy, or certainly I got to a point where I was very unhappy, stuck in all sorts of old habits.
We do these talks of why I'm a Buddhist, and just kind of every now and again kind of sitting down and listening to people talk, you can see the enormous kind of the stories, and how people have actually, really emerged out of the basic matter of their lives, and actually kind of you can see the jewels beginning to kind of, if not shine, at least kind of glitter, sort of thing.
When I first came along, I felt as if I was home. I'd been looking for a long while, and it felt like it was home. So I immediately, very soon after coming along, I asked to become a Mitra.
I come along to the London Buddhist Centre to learn, to meditate and to practice Buddhism with other people. I mostly come on Wednesday nights for my Mitra study.
Came to the movement, got very enthusiastic and inspired, said I'm never asked to be a Mitra, and then of course a few weeks later did ask to be a Mitra.
Being a Mitra, as I understand it, is to be a friend of the Western Buddhist Order. It's joining the community of Buddhists without really fully committing yourself. It's to help out where you can and just be that, be a friend of.
For me, it's taking practice deeper, taking Buddhist practice deeper. So, and that's essentially it, and becoming part of the Sangha.
Immediately after I became a Mitra, I asked for ordination. And the reason, I wasn't ready at the time actually, but the reason why I asked for ordination is that I knew that I had found what I'd been looking for.
I asked for ordination about a year ago, just over a year ago. I never thought it'd be possible for me to ask for ordination. I didn't see it coming at all.
I'm just willing to try and do whatever is available, which is going to help me to practice as deeply as I possibly can. So the route that I've taken is the ordination route, because that's what was there, and who knows, that might be the right route for me, and it might not be the right route for everyone, but I'm willing to try it because that's what's available.
I like the fact that I'm doing Mitra studies, I'm studying more about Buddhism, and
I have no doubt eventually I will become ordained. As to how long that will take, that's another matter.
Ordination means that you get to wear a kesa around your neck. You get a new name. Everybody has to do what you tell them to do.
An order member is somebody who's made a commitment to practice Buddhism within this context of the Western Buddhist Order. So they've made a lifelong commitment to live by the principles of Buddhism, and that they've, in a way, shown that they're able to do that, able to make that commitment and able to put the principles of Buddhism into practice.
You know, it is possible to lead a spiritual path on your own, but there's so much to be gained from friendship and interacting with others and sharing your ideals with others.
Being an order member around the LBC, to me, means finding ways to give expression to my values.
It's people who are following that, following their heart in a way, and following what feels true and what feels beautiful and what feels real to them.
I always imagined my ordination was going to be something absolutely, exquisitely sort of harmonious and joyful, and it was to a certain extent, but in effect it was quite a difficult time for me.
I do remember just crying as soon as I heard my name because it felt so beautiful. It was a very big moment for me, changing my name.
Being given a name, it's something I wouldn't be without, because it's a constant reminder of what you're trying to do, move further towards the Buddha and his teaching.
Most Sikh people meditate. They're off at the moment.
I imagine meditation to be just a way of maybe looking at yourself, just finding, just being a bit more calm about everything that goes on.
When you normally close your eyes, you just close your eyes. But when you meditate, it feels like you can't open them. It feels like you're in a completely different world.
It's just kind of a way of maybe putting your mind at rest after a busy day, trying to work through your thoughts.
Meditating really does work. People say, it doesn't work, it's just there. It's just like, it doesn't, but it really does. It does calm your thoughts.
Meditation brings a lot of calmness to my life. And since I've been coming to the centre, I feel very much calmer and happier, actually.
I learned meditation to develop awareness and to become, to develop space, develop an ability to stay with what was happening.
I found that it's really grounding and it's really centering, and it helps me a lot to connect with my own self.
It calms you down, it helps you in difficult situations, it helps you dealing with stressful situations.
Just it's like the spiritual side to it, and a bit of quiet time for myself and discovering more about myself, really. It's nice doing things for me.
So try and find some space amongst all the thoughts and to get some peace into my life.
Particularly in nursing, whenever you're with people, you need to create a sense of time, and you need to start from having a sense of time yourself. So meditation helps with that.
My experience of coming along and sort of learning to meditate was I'd had that sort of experience before, and realised that actually it was in painting that when I'm sort of very absorbed actually in the work, and actually it's really going well, I'm sort of painting, then there's a similar state actually of meditation. There's concentration, there's calmness, obviously sometimes there's bliss, sometimes there's the other mental states when it's not working very well, but it sort of did have that great similarity, and I thought,
In the meditating, I was trying to think about myself and what could make me a better person and what things I should improve on.
Meditation is often just associated with calming the mind and becoming a bit more still, a bit more tranquil, a bit happier perhaps. And Buddhist meditation includes that, but what makes it distinctively Buddhist is that on the basis of that calm and happy and concentrated mind, you then reflect on what it is to be human, what it is to be alive, what it is to be have experience at all.
Doing nothing can be extremely difficult, but at the same time it's rewarding because I've experienced a lot of positivity and a change of mind, which would be difficult without years of psychoanalysis and all that. So it just keeps you in touch with what's really going on with my own experience.
Nobody had really talked to me previously about the quality of awareness, the sort of gentle lightness
the expansiveness, the forgiving, patient awareness, which seemed to me to be sort of on the money. And I think generally why I kept on doing it.
I was having really, really strong meditation experiences from the very beginning. And I just thought, wow. And my heart just really responded. And no matter how difficult it was, I always just kept coming back to that. I kept coming back to my own experience.
My initial experience of meditation was amazing. Beginner's mind, I think, and thank goodness for that, because I know it's possible. But I have to say in the last year or so it has been extremely difficult. I keep going because I know that that's that is what meditation is about. To just keep going, however difficult it seems, however distracted I may feel.
I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years now, and I can almost do it. Well, that might be an exaggeration, perhaps I can't. I found it very difficult, and really I've found out more recently that the less hard you try, the better it goes, really. I think I've been a big trier in life, and it doesn't always work, you know. Trying gets in the way, just do it, you know.
When people start meditating, I think then that kind of makes them aware of whole areas of their life which they then have to work with. And it's a slow process, but it's a very rewarding one.
If you're a miner, you have to dig through hundreds of feet of dirt and rock in order to come to the ore. And in the meditation, you're like having to dig through hundreds of feet of negative feelings and thinking before you can start to experience some sense of wholeness or calmness or tranquility.
I have a long history of not always finding meditation easy, but that also has changed a lot, and I do feel it's quite a privilege now to be able to teach meditation, so it reminds me of how important meditation is and has been in my own life.
Over the years it has become a keystone of my practice, I think mainly to work on my mind and to keep me in contact with deeper sources of inspiration.
Kind of go through periods of doing it and then not doing it, or doing it because I feel I have to and then trying to get in touch with the real reason for doing it.
When Tay was first born, it was quite easy to meditate because when he's small and it's almost like you can control the little baby and you can have more of your time. And then I think between 6 months and probably 4 years I found it really difficult, although I'd meditate probably once or twice a week. It was more difficult to have a regular practice, but now it's a bit older. I have 2 really long meditations at the weekends, and during the week I just have 5 or 10 minutes meditation every morning. But I think at least that's regular practice rather than not doing anything at all.
Basically halfway to getting clean and sober, and I reasoned that I wouldn't actually make it through Christmas, or if I did I wouldn't enjoy making it through Christmas, and I needed to go and just meet some new people. So basically I went nowhere in Oxfordshire to meet people I'd never met and talk about something I had a vague idea about, since I should probably have been interested in the 60s.
Before we got married, there was I had a general interest in Buddhism anyway, and Bev was already a Mitra by then, wasn't you?
Yeah.
And I was talking about Buddhism, and she said, there's a Buddhist retreat on for black people, one of the introductory retreats. I thought, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So I went down, and that was my first involvement with Buddhism and meditation, and it was great.
The food was great, and not too many people beamed at me, so that was all right.
It felt like I'd met a group of people who were trying to do something that I'd been trying to do all along, and that was a real watershed. It was a really good experience for me. I had been meditating for a couple of years. I'd just learnt from a book, and so that was the first time I meditated with other people, and that was a big thing as well. Had a big effect.
People come from towns, cities, they say to me, well, it said on arrival, it's so lovely to come here. We're just surrounded by hot concrete, and they looked out over the hedges through the gateways, and there's just this fantastic sense of space.
It's an incredible feeling because it's not like a normal holiday. I always go back feeling a lot more spacious in my head. Whatever's happened on retreat, I always go back and people go, "Oh, you look well."
The main thing got from retreat, everything's very heightened.
At best, my whole experience is heightened, so that things around me seem particularly beautiful, my mind seems particularly clear and lucid, and my emotions are very, very warm and open.
I get much calmer. Somehow more things become clearer to me. So yeah, more clarity definitely.
I think there is that scary factor of it all being a bit unknown, and I would say go with the unknown.
When I came to my last retreat, I was quite distressed going into it, and I was amazed. I was amazed how well supported I felt.
The first 2 days I always find it extremely difficult, and I don't want to be here and I want to go home. Everything is nice, comfortable and very familiar, rather than to be here with a bunch of people I don't know and I need to make a connection with them.
It felt very uncomfortable. I felt very, I didn't know where I was in terms of I was kind of struggling with myself. But I was present to experience it rather than in normal life where I just kind of overwrite it or I don't even recognise it's happening and I just kind of do something to change that, to take myself away from that. So it just feels like I'm being very true to myself when I'm here.
People do experience themselves differently. I think that's such an obvious thing when people come on a longer retreat, and probably also on shorter retreats, but you start to see people change, without a doubt.
Coming from a city, to have that silence, to hear the silence, just to be with people, not feel that talking is important.
There is a definite feeling that one is living a shared life in the values of the Dharma, and however one is trying to live that out in one's life, it is the thing that seems to hold us together.
I remember my first solitary retreat. I hadn't been coming along very long, and I went on a 2-week solitary retreat and did lots and lots and lots of meditation. It was a fantastic retreat and a bit scary. I remember particularly at night, having these real fears that an axe murderer was going to come in.
So we had this week of quiet and then just coming back into the
into
the noise. It really did kind of have an impact on me, and it's never quite had that same impact going on at further retreats and coming back. It's kind of got used to it, but I remember that being quite a shock.
One particular summer retreat, I gave up drinking and come home, and it was as if magic had been sprinkled on us, me and the kids. So I've got a lot to give thanks. You forget that sometimes, that it changed so much.
Buddhism means finding a way of accepting reality, life as it is, and learning to live with things as they are.
It offers a deeper meaning to life and how you should live your life, basically.
I'm not sure I like Buddhism. Like is the wrong word for Buddhism.
I suppose Buddhism is just everything. It's so much. That's hard to say.
I don't want to be a Buddhist or anything, like I said to the teachers as well, but I think Buddhism is a really, really good religion, and I like all the rules. What are they called?
Precedents or something.
Yeah,
no?
Precepts.
Yeah,
precepts
are so true, and they've got all the meanings are correct for
It don't seem like
for
a
my
religion.
opinion.
It don't seem like a religion.
It's like a way of life. It's a way of life.
Most religions ask you to believe in some mythology which might offer solace, but doesn't seem to offer actual experience, whereas Buddhism does.
It's important for me not to live by a philosophy that promises something that it can't deliver. And Buddhism, well, it's more than a philosophy, it's an opportunity to practice spiritually.
What Buddhism means to me is insight into the nature of reality and integrating my way of life in light of the truth of my own experience.
Western science is, in a way, concerned with the nature of reality, trying to find out what the nature of reality is. And Buddhism's doing the same thing, but approaching it from a subjective pole. So how do we experience reality? And science, Western science anyway, is approaching it from an objective pole, assuming that there's an objective reality out there. And both are partial, aren't they? They're partial approaches. Neither gives you the complete picture. One leaves out our subjective experience, the other one leaves out the objective, as it were. So they're linked. They're very, very linked. The sort of pursuit for truth is common to both of them.
What does Buddhism mean to me? It means kindness, it means ethics, it means practice.
Without sounding too pretentious, it's just it addresses an existential thing that I have, you know, if you like, what is the meaning of life, and what's really going on.
Buddhism helps me and hopefully others not be afraid, and when you're not afraid you could be authentic and lead your own life.
I've never been kind of particularly satisfied. It also addresses that sense of dissatisfaction that it seems material things can't seem to address.
That's all you do is suffer.
Yeah.
And all you do is self-crave and be jealous and greedy, and just to be rid of all that, it must be the best feeling in the world.
Like in Buddhism, like everyone in the world suffers. There's never going to be the poverty will never stop. But in Buddhism, it lets you realise that you're on the way to help it. Like you're there. You're still, even though you're one person, you're still like meditating, doing all stuff like that, following the precepts. You're still on the way to like helping, like it will stop.
What we call the Bodhisattva ideal, where your purpose in life is basically to do minimal harm and to benefit all beings, so mostly people, as much as one can in one's daily life.
You have to overcome selfishness and greed.
Yeah, it's greed and temptation.
No violence, like
no
frustration,
irritation.
No hurting insects, bugs, humans, no wars, nothing.
You hear things that sort of ring distant bells in your mind. I've never quite understood things. And the way it's been put now, it sort of makes a little more sense. But you've always kind of known it, but never been able to crystallise it, as it were.
The thing about Buddhism is that faith is not blind faith, it's based on experience. So I'm experiencing myself becoming more and more effective in my practice. My practice is deepening. I get that feedback back from other people as well. And so, yeah, I'm convinced it does work.
So what's it like to have a Buddhist mother?
It's a bit annoying sometimes when she's always going out to chapters and
Dharma group.
It does make a difference having a Buddhist mum, because it's like she has more morals and stuff. She's not just like whatever about everything. She has opinions on stuff.
She'd probably be a lot angrier if she wasn't a Buddhist.
Not angrier, but not as
patient.
Yeah, she's quite patient.
What sort of stuff do I have opinions about?
About how you should treat people with respect and everything, and give people the benefit of the doubt and stuff.
What's it like being Buddhist mother?
Buddhist mother.
Well, I think you've got a big resource to call upon to enable you to handle it, because I think your patience is never stretched so far as when you have a child.
I need bubbles in my hair.
Am I patient with you?
No.
No, I mean, I think her mother's much more patient than I am.
Patience is very emphasised in Buddhism. So, actually, funny enough, patience is the very thing that seems to work with children. It doesn't really work to lose your rag. So if you can actually call upon patience in principle and in practice and enhance that through meditation when you get the time.
If you can meditate sort of once a week, enjoy that. And with a family it's very difficult to do everything.
It's the same issue being a Buddhist dad as being a non-Buddhist dad. It's just, I think you have, maybe being Buddhist, you have some reminders to try and do exactly the same things that other parents have to do, which is to be He's got earrings on as well, to be patient, to try and be patient and to try and be kind and not lose your temper, which is exactly the same as I suppose a lot of most parents try and do. So in some ways it's not that different. But it's just, I suppose you're more conscious of the fact when you really do lose it, you think, well, I've really lost it.
It does affect your ability to go on retreat when you've got young children, and Eugene's very supportive, so if he wasn't supported, I couldn't really go away on a 2-week retreat.
You are away on retreat a lot. Yeah.
How does that feel, having your mum away on retreat a lot?
Well, we don't really miss her, really.
I miss her.
You miss her.
Because Dad buys the wrong kind of cake for us.
Yeah.
He buys a healthy food.
The ones which we can go on, they're
What are they called?
Parents and
children's retreat.
Oh.
They're really fun.
Why are they fun?
The other children our age.
And other parents. And it's really kind of just interesting and fun, and it's a really nice kind of atmosphere.
Our families are both quite far away, so the mandala provides a sense of community for him and for me. So there's loads of kids he's kind of grown up with, and we see regularly. In fact, I find we spend more time with people with children now because they can play together.
It's nice that I can come here with Iris and that she also gets to know people here, and she has right from the time she was born. So that's really nice. It feels very inclusive because of that, and it's been good for me to sort of bring my whole life here and not just bits of it.
Think you're going to become a Buddhist?
No.
Why not? Why don't you want to become a Buddhist?
I don't like religion. I really hate it.
Yeah, I really don't like religion either, and it gets a bit kind of not pressurising, but like a bit.
I think it
takes up a lot of time
in your life, and I'd rather be just enjoying myself.
Would you think of yourself as Buddhist?
No.
No.
I'm an atheist.
Yeah, atheist.
Sangharakshita has said, don't be shy to influence your children, because if you don't, somebody else will. So hence I'm indoctrinating him with all the mantras. Om Amoga Siddhya Hum. Om Amoga Siddhya Hum. Also self-care is very important. Making sure you get time for yourself to meditate, and so self-care, self-met is very important. That's emphasised in Buddhism too.
I decided to move into a community because I wanted to be with people who were making an effort to get to know each other and to be friends and live in a meaningful way.
I live with 11 other women, and it's really nice to be able to meditate together in the morning and share a common vision again, develop stronger friendships, and see each other changing. It's a really good place to see change happening, actually.
I didn't want to live on my own. That was one of the choices, and I had some friends already living in Sakavatat, so I thought it'd be an ideal way of just like seeing what spiritual life was, living day to day.
I came into the community because I wanted to be the people in it. So what I most appreciate, I guess, is having them around and being able to spend time with them.
It's just a positive place to live, where I guess I can find out more about myself by living with people that I wouldn't have necessarily chosen to live with if it wasn't in this context.
Living kind of 24 hours with people, you see sides that you don't normally see when you're on your best behaviour in the when you go for a cappuccino.
Considering how most other people are living, I think this is a rare opportunity, and it's very enjoyable to share one's life so intimately with one's friends.
The best thing for me is just feeling connected with other people and sharing, and just having people to talk to, actually, talk about my life, just share myself. And I enjoy other people actually sharing their life with me.
We're friends. I think we're in very harmonious communication, but also I think we've got a context to go deeper.
There's 13 of us living here at the moment, I think, so there's always someone to talk to. And I guess, being able to share Buddhism gives us things in common.
It's provided me with a lot of challenges and also a lot of joy and satisfaction, both.
It just really suits me. This is what I've been looking for, and it feels
as I say, it just feels very comfortable to be here.
It's also lovely to think at the same time, you know, we're sharing one fridge and one washing machine between 6 people. We're composting. You know, we're actually sort of also trying to live a life that also not only affects ourselves but affects the world in a more positive way.
We cook for each other, which is also very good. It's very handy. I get 6 good meals for me cooked every week.
It's really, really lovely to come home most nights and there is somebody has cooked, and we're all cooking once a week. And it's a time when we come together at the end of our days and just share a bit of our lives.
I think it's such a supportive environment that even through those difficult times there's people there for me, and it's okay to, you know, be open and say I find it difficult to live here or I might not want to live here.
It's one of the things that I really like about communities. People talk about other people in the community in a very helpful way.
Sometimes it's nice because well, just lots of friends around and it's very supportive, and at other times it's difficult because sometimes you want your own space and it's not always there.
And what's the worst thing about living in the community?
The washing up.
I don't like sharing toothbrushes in the same mug.
There can be too many people sometimes. It can be like living at a train station.
I like being with just women and developing my friendships with women, and I feel I can fully be myself, as fully as possible.
I think it's kind of the best situation you could find, well, that I've managed to find. Outside the traditional family, I think, you know, in some ways it's even better than a traditional family.
It's something that you can try, and there's no rule to say you have to do it for the rest of your life, so it's something you can experiment with, and that's very much how I entered into it, and I've ended up staying and really appreciating it.
What's it like working here?
It's really good. It's relaxed, and everyone that works here is nice and cool.
2 reasons. One, I needed a job, and second, I love the shop.
And what's it like working with Buddhists? What are they like, these Buddhists?
Really aware of everything, which is really nice, and really considerate. That's cool.
It's really easy to just come in and do something, you know, just come in and help out. And they're just so welcoming and friendly, and it's a lovely atmosphere, and you can be yourself.
The Buddhist team based for our livelihood businesses are a group of Buddhists who run businesses together in order to develop their practice.
It's a nice change to work somewhere where everything is not about money. You know, it's about giving back to the society in a way.
You've got the opportunity to practice your ethics at the same time as doing your work.
The principle of it is like give what you can and take what you need. So I quite like that sort of idea.
We've got a shared vision and we're all supporting each other and working with friends.
I primarily joined when I wanted to work with other women in a Buddhist situation.
It's an opportunity to combine my lifestyle with my working.
This work and meditation interconnected. Sometimes when I was in India, I worked, but not like this atmosphere. So always stress and depression, one kind of hard like that. But when I came here, but this team-based right livelihood work, giving a good feedback for my meditation.
I've worked in right livelihood before now, just as a part-timer, which was enjoyable, but I really missed having that experience of being part of the team and the joint decision making and having to reach consensus over things, which is not always easy.
We've got meetings every week, so we all talk together about what we need here do now in the Maitreyabandhu.
We share our experience together. We report in every morning, you know, talk about what's going on for us.
Working in this tiny little kitchen, there's just no escape from each other. We're always, you know, touching each other, rubbing up against each other, literally, as well as you know, in our communication. And I just haven't found that anywhere else I've worked.
It's relaxed, not always, but mostly it's relaxed and friendly and very helpful situation to work.
Sometimes it gets very intense. I suppose it feels like a flame, like a Bunsen burner underneath you. Sometimes because you just can't get away with anything.
We're in the office now beneath the main shrine room upstairs, and it's a really sort of busy office. It's got lots of computers and phones going and fax machines, and it's quite chaotic at times.
I went into environmental consultancy because I wanted to make a difference, and I didn't feel I was making a difference. Whereas here, I'm glad I went through working in consultancy, and I can use those skills here doing something which I think is much more worthwhile.
It's a real challenge to bring the two worlds together, the busy office and the sacred temple, if you like. On Fridays, I'm in here in the morning answering emails and phone calls and doing all the organisational work, and then I go and teach the lunchtime meditation class, which I really like, and sometimes Fridays I feel the world's coming together a bit more fully than other times.
Before I worked as part of Bodywise management team, I worked on my own as a freelance, and coming here meant that I needed to develop my communication skills.
Bodywise is a yoga and natural health centre and has been working for a long time now, about 20 odd years. It started because some practitioners felt very isolated working on their own, and then they joined as a team. It was a team of Buddhist women.
There's lots of theory with shiatsu, but in some ways you can sort of brush all that aside, and if you can just come to it with a sense of kind of kindness and compassion.
In teaching Tai Chi, I see myself as helping people to become more mindful and also to become healthier and find ways to relax.
The value of yoga, it's personal, it's different to different people, but on the whole it seems that people get a sense of well-being.
I really like working in teams, so it kind of keeps my communication going on with the team and the collaboration and all these, the good and difficult, challenging aspects of a team that really help my practice.
Recently I was in the West End, and I was really shocked and saddened by the people I just came across just in the streets. People just seemed really alienated and quite aggressive, and I found that in a number of shops I went into, and I just thought, get me back to the grunge of Bethnal Green, get me back to the cherry. And I just thought how lucky I am to be working here, and how grateful I do feel that I work in this environment. And it really is like an oasis for me. Well, it's an oasis for me, and for I think it's just so many other people.
Bodhi is a little right livelihood business catering for the needs of teachers and students in London who want to learn more about Buddhism.
We've been able with Maitreyabandhu, for instance, to do a storytelling project for local women where young Bangladeshi girls, local girls, and older local white women were able to do role play and tell each other about their lives. That was very successful.
I love doing my Bodhi tree work because I get to talk about the Dharma with all kinds of different people, ranging in age from about 4 years old up to 80, and get to hear what people want to know. So often those questions are concerned with the real nitty-gritty issues of life, like, well, what does happen when we die? Or how do I deal with the fact that I'm always getting irritable with everybody around me?
I think there's a natural fit between Buddhism and environmentalism. And so there are a lot of people who want to do something for the environment, and that feels quite pressing for me. And because I was a consultant, it feels like I can try and help organise that a bit. So as a consultant, I wrote reports for 14 years, and as I say, probably made some difference. But here it feels like you can actually do something practical and organise yourselves together and do it in a communal way, and that feels fantastic.
One of the things that's been really great that I've been able to do as I'm a psychiatrist is use some of that in the work at the LBC. So a couple of things I've been particularly doing has been doing meditation for depression courses, which is based on work done elsewhere, which shows that mindfulness meditation is effective for preventing relapse into depression. And then I've adapted that to create a meditation for addiction course as well. And all of that is part of our bigger work in terms of just using the Buddha's teachings to help people with their health and mental health and their well-being. So we also do carers events and retreats. We also do meditation for people with chronic pain, and we also do bereavement courses as well.
I'm a carer, and I felt stressed, and they said it from carers. Do you want to come over and have relaxation? So of course I came for relaxation.
You go along in life and things happen, and then suddenly you'll become a carer and your life's turned upside down. You've got somebody who depends on you completely for everything.
As part of the carers group, I find that it gives me a focus for myself, as opposed to always giving out to somebody else at home. I'm always being treated well here, and it's a little bit of respite for myself.
Meeting with the other people is strength, togetherness, more than one together give you strength. So yeah, I do like that.
I feel when I come here that it's like coming into a different world, and when I come here, this is my time. This is my time. I'm not answerable to anybody. The mobile goes off, everything switches off, and this is my little bit of time to sort of build up strength in mind and body, and then I can go out and face the world.
It's particularly good to have a place like this.
There's always a sense of possibility.
I like the possibility.
At the very outset, it felt like home.
When you come through those doors, you kind of feel safe.
It really will help you become a happier person. It's been a complete change to my life, hugely for the better.
I like the open days when we can come in and then lots of different people are here.
Being around the London Buddhist Centre just really encourages me to practice the Dharma wholeheartedly.
I feel very relaxed and very comfortable here at the centre.
I don't think I would have ever lived and worked around, such a variety of people.
I hear the birds sing. Stuff that I never used to listen to or even notice.
I've built up roots, developed roots here now, and that's very important.
I fell in love with meditation, and I just love being around people that talk about meditation, that practice meditation.
Going to festivals and the way Tay plays with the other kids, and he feels really at home there.
I really love walking through the streets and bumping into lots of people I know. It's friendly.
I like to develop a friendship and improvement myself.
They talk to you as if you're an adult, and they describe it to you as you'd like it to be described, not as if you're little kids.
The LBC Mandala is very rich, very, very rich, a very rich mix.
So it's a rare combination between being challenging and being comfortable, which I hadn't experienced before.
I appreciate the fact that it's a chance to come and be with like-minded people.
I like the environment, I like the people, I like the way they explain the things here.
Those people here I just love so much, and I enjoy my friendships with them, my communication and the inspiration.
I appreciate being able to just go along and be included even though you're not Buddhist.
I think it's very hard to sort of practice the spiritual life on your own, but by doing it with other people, it can be fun.
It's fantastic. It's great. It's community, and there's nothing like it. I think you can be in a hovel and with community and be happier than in a palace without.
I wouldn't be able to practice Buddhism to that extent if I wouldn't have this support.
It's a great centre, great people, friendly. You're never lonely with the Buddhist Centre.
I feel like it's my second home now. When I'm back in India for a while, when I visit, I miss being here, and of course vice versa.
I would have never imagined myself sort of doing the things that I've ended up doing in my life. It kind of, you sort of start discovering, well, there are things in you that were never kind of reflected back to you.
There's a bunch of people actively trying to pursue ideals and pursue truths, and living together and enjoying that. And for me, there's something that's just beautiful about that.
The people are friendly and odd, and they're just ordinary people. There's nothing special about them, but there is, at the same time, there is a depth to quite a lot of the people who come here, which is quite reassuring and surprising, and that's why I like coming here.
I think it is really beneficial for artists to paint because they can go a little bit beyond. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. That was a hard question. I don't want to answer that question.
I should have been given these questions in advance. I feel like an ambushed politician.
Anything else you want to say?
Do you want a coffee?
You must do it again sometime.
No.
What aspects don't I like?
No, we'll leave that there a minute.
I'm sure there's loads, but I can't think of anything at the moment.
What did you ask me? What did you ask me?
How my practice as a Buddhist affects my work. Oh, sorry, I'm getting...
I'm the organiser, and I'm finding it terrifying. Well, you wanted the truth.
Look at that Buddha.
Oh, very well cued. Yes, I primed her with that one. He has got feathers.
An unexpected pleasure for the day. You're not still filming.
It's quite chaotic at times, so for me it's a real challenge. There's something else going off, that's the fire alarm being tested.
What makes it a Buddhist? You have team meetings?
Well, most
You're
days
nice
we do. Really nice and caring and friendly.
Any idea where we are?
What it's like to have a Buddhist mother. She were here. Here she is.
Hi. Hi. You're not saying anything you shouldn't be.
No. You just interrupted.
Oh, well, it's time now.
Oh.
That's past.
Let's just do it quickly and then we'll send them in.
Is there biscuits?
I have to be at 3.
Safe. Right.